Hey guys, Josh here from LiberSeed. You know, one thing that I absolutely love about this new kind of lifestyle that I'm living is that there's nothing really commanding my attention at any given moment. Now I've got kids and people need to eat, etc. But in terms of jobs and work, you know, if I want to go and cut some wood, I can go and cut some wood. If I want to go sweep up something or start building something, I can go and do that. And kind of at any point, if I don't enjoy doing it at that moment, or I really feel like doing something else, then I can kind of do that. I suppose in the future, once we start getting animals and kind of other responsibilities, that won't be quite as freeing. However, you know, if you've got all the animals in like a safe location, etc., then there shouldn't be any particular reason why they command your attention for any specific moment. Against kind of the old lifestyle or the normal lifestyle that society has you doing, where you work for the rich man, you do what they want you to do, or whatever the service or good that you provide commands you to do. And so if you're in a restaurant and the customer comes, well, you need to be doing exactly that, serving that customer, making that food. If you are working in a shop, in a retail environment, and you know some shelves need filling or somebody needs serving, you need to go and do that, because your day is dictated by what is thrown at you. And so I suppose, you know, you could start talking about discipline, and you could talk about instant gratification and all this sort of stuff, but I don't think that kind of applies here. I think what's really important is that you're constantly productive and you're constantly working towards something to improve your future. And that doesn't have to be major steps. It doesn't have to be like you do all of your job in one day, but it's all about incremental steps and continuous progress. And so if you're able to do that in a fashion that keeps you motivated, then you're able to make larger gains over a longer period of time. Now, most people actually predict their progress to be kind of wrong based on time frames. Most people think that they overestimate what they're able to do within a short period of time, let's say 24 to 48 hours, maybe even a week. They kind of fairly accurate for a time span of a week of a prediction of what they're able to achieve. But over a long period of time, whether it be 6 months, whether it be 5 years, 20 years, people really underestimate what they can achieve. And so really working towards that long-term goal continuously in a motivated fashion is really going to strive you into the direction of what you want to achieve. Now, I just find it easier to do it in this sort of lifestyle where I get to just decide what I want to do. You know, I've got all these little things that need to be done, and you know, everything needs to be done, but I can do something next week, I can do something tomorrow, I can do something today, I can do something right now, and that's kind of dictated by whatever I want to do, and I'm really enjoying that. And I think that's quite freeing, and until you experience the fact of you're self-motivated, you know, you're not being judged, you know, you don't have performance ratings or somebody's paying you to do what you're doing. It's only then that you get to decide what you do and you think is most useful to you at that moment. And so it's up until now, you kind of don't, you can know that, and I can tell you that, and you can listen and you can understand, but until you actually experience it, it's quite a strange feeling. Like right now, what do I want to do? I don't know. I can walk around, I can look at what I want to do. I'm actually going to go and try this method of propagating trees that I've seen online on videos over the last few years, where people go and cut a part of the branch and they basically wrap it in something, whatever. It could be dirt, it could be, people sell commercial stuff, etc, etc. I'm going to try and do something natural that I can produce, and then you wrap that in some sort of clear plastic, like cling film, and the idea there is that once you've taken off the bark and kept it moist, obviously this is elevated off the ground, so that's why you need the plastic, then that will start growing the roots. After 16 weeks, or however long it takes, depends on the tree, then you're able to cut that off, go and plant your trees. Now, what I absolutely love about that is a lot of these newer trees, for example apple trees, that are being grown and sold on the market today, they're all kind of like genetically chosen, and so genetically modified and selected based on certain qualities that the species of the tree has. For example, it could be drought resistant, it could be hardy in the winter, so it survives very, very cold winters. It could be that it produces a certain color of apple, or larger apples, or it could be a way that it grows. It could be really tall, etc., quite bushy. Now, in the process of modifying it and selecting the DNA of this said tree, I believe that it could cause qualities where the fruit is not as good for you to eat, and the consequences of that could have negative health issues. These trees that I've got around me, they're actually quite old, and they're definitely older than 20-30 years, and so they're kind of free of this selective pressure or modification of the genetic coding. And so if I can propagate these trees, then that means that I'm keeping the genetic code of these trees that were much healthier 50 to 100 years ago. So that's what I want to go and do now, and the reason why I want to go do that now is because I just find it interesting. I think that it could be enjoyable to do. So I'm gonna go do one, see how that goes, and you can do multiple on the same branch. You could do. It's good to choose a branch that's roughly about 1 to 3 centimeters thick, and you can do multiple branches on multiple trees, etc. So you can get lots of them. I think it's called like air gapping or air stacking or something like that. And so if I enjoy doing one of them, then well, I can do another, and I can do another, and if I really enjoy it, I can go and do loads of different trees, whether it be birch trees, whether it be apple, fruit, whatever. I can go and do that, and then at some point I decide that I'm getting bored, I'm getting hungry, or whatever it is, then I can go and do whatever I want to do. And so I feel like there's freedom. I feel like there's my time is my time, and I'm not being forced to do something without meaning. And that's the problem that I think most people, especially the younger generation, 30s below probably, is the main population where it's really hitting hard, is a lack of meaning. Is what is the reason what I'm doing and spending my time and energy doing. Because I used to work in different industries. I worked in restaurants, and there's a meaning behind it. You're providing the best service and the food possible, so the customers keep coming back. And what's the point in doing that? Well, the point of doing that is so you keep having a job at the end of the day, because you're making profit for the company, and the company employs you. Realistically, what did I work for? I worked for the people. I worked to make the life of the people around me and my team easier, and I enjoyed that. And so the harder I worked, the easier it made my team's day, and I built relationships that way, and I have long-term friendships with people by engaging in workplace. That's fantastic. Really enjoyed that. But at the end of the day, what I was doing, whether I was stacking a shelf, cooking a burger, or serving a customer, I didn't feel like it was purposeful. I didn't feel like I am fulfilled. That's a very blanket term and very difficult to kind of explain the feeling there, but I think you understand exactly what I mean. And well, I think that's kind of changing. I feel like that when you're working on your own land and your property, you're changing your environment, you're changing where you live for the better. Your local kind of mindset, I don't know how to describe it, but it's very strange, because I can go and work very hard in said workplace. It doesn't matter what kind of industry, but you're going somewhere to work for somebody else, and all the effort that you put in is to kind of maintain that area or business or whatever it is. And so you're always working to maintain some sort of forward trajectory. And when you're doing it on your own land, if your grass is getting longer and you cut the grass, then every day that you wake up and you live around and you walk around, you feel like you've done this is for you, and you constantly reap the rewards. Whereas in a restaurant, you could clean something, and like the grass, is going to grow back and it's going to get dirty again. But this is not for your specific benefit. Maybe it's your job, you get paid for it, But you don't. It's not a direct connection between doing the work, then the reward system. And if I was to go and build a flower bed, for example, then I put in a lot of effort, you know, cutting the wood, putting it all together. Afterwards, I'm going to keep reaping the reward of that flower bed, because every single time now I go and pick up some strawberries, it's not going to be at the floor level, or for whatever reason that I built the flower beds in the first place. So it's an interestingly strange experience where, in terms of motivation and achieving my goals, living this kind of lifestyle really feels like it's kind of intertwined with that way of thinking and motivation and mentality. Anyway, that's enough blabbering on, but it's really good. Try to think long term, try to make incremental progress, because it doesn't matter particularly how much progress you make when you compound it over a long period of time. It's going to be a lot. So good luck. Alright, so I'm going to try and propagate this pear tree. I think it's good pears that it produces, and probably plenty enough. But I want a younger tree. This tree seems to be a little bit old and haggard now. And so what I'm doing is trying to peel off the bark here. Oh, I'll show you that. Excuse me, love. Peel off the bark. It's probably about 1.5 to 2 inches in thickness there. Oh. Not really showing you. There we go. 1.5 to 2 inches of thickness. And then I'm going to wrap it in this. Just some fruit to try and give it a little bit of vitamins, etc. Nutrients. And some compost that we've got from our barn. And I'm going to use this to kind of hold it all together. I'm going to wet this a lot more so it's more moist. And the goal here is that it's going to grow roots. And then I'm going to cut the tree here, boom, and I can plant this whole thing as one tree. There we go. I absolutely butchered the design, but the point is that it's holding in the water that's in there. And I got a little visual cap to be able to see when there's roots that's filled up. This apple tree is going to be absolutely gorgeous. So then I just cut it off there, and this whole thing is going to be a tree. I got another one here. Again, oh, you see that one's slightly dripping? That's not good. It means I'm going to have to probably inject it a little bit with, or seal it with water, is what I meant. But yeah, that's it. That's a job done for me that I enjoyed, and we're also clearing the loft. And it's a lot of bagging up all of the like sawdust. It's a sawdust mix with some like stones and that, so we can't just use it in like flower beds, etc. So we're gonna have to bag it up, get rid of it, and it's looking gonna be in about 70 bags. So that's frustrating, but it's work that needs to be done. So that's it.